Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for coming today. My name's Tom Stovall. I'm from Dubuque, Iowa, where I serve as the executive director of the Community Action Agency there. And it's also my honor to serve as the chair of the board of directors of the National Fuel Funds Network. I would like to just start off with a statement about what we're doing here today before I introduce some of our distinguished speakers who will follow. Today marks the 10th consecutive year that the National Fuel Funds Network and supporters of the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program have come to Washington on what we call Action Day for LIHEAP, and its purpose is to advocate for the LIHEAP program in support of federal energy assistance. As I speak here, there's about 130 of our members who are spread out over congressional offices today, making visits on behalf of LIHEAP and encouraging folks to reject the administration's proposal that LIHEAP be reduced to $3.02 billion and that it be increased to $5.1 billion in funding for this very important safety net program. A reduction in LIHEAP funding at the level proposed by the administration would leave millions of Americans without much needed help in paying their home energy bills, not only in summer but in winter. Those proposed funding cuts would adversely affect the elderly, the disabled, the working poor, and many of our veterans who more and more are needing the support of the LIHEAP program. So, in other words, these cuts are going to place a tremendous burden on the families and the households who, at this state of our economy, can least afford it. We all understand the need to balance the federal budget and reduce our federal deficit, but millions of households are having a hard time balancing their own budgets these days. Home energy costs make up a significant portion of many family budgets, and LIHEAP is one of the key safety nets in trying to reduce the burdens on those budgets. Although there has been a gradual improvement in our nation's economy recently, more than 14 million Americans remain out of work today, and there are millions more who are just struggling to make ends meet across our land. Families are faced with difficult decisions as they try to put food on the table, keep the lights on in their house, and make their homes livable. All of the people that have come today to Washington to join us represent many of the organizations that are on the front line as we fight the effects of current recession and high home energy prices today. Even though this winter has been relatively mild in most parts of the country, many people are still having a difficult time keeping up with their home energy cost. The number of people applying for assistance through the LIHEAP program this winter is expected to reach record numbers despite a 25% decrease in LIHEAP funding for FY 2012. What we do here today is but a very first step in the fight to keep LIHEAP operating at a level where it is an effective and efficient program for our nation's poor. We know that the appropriations process is a lengthy one, and NFFN and other LIHEAP supporters will take every opportunity available to press our fight on for LIHEAP across our land. Today's meetings on Capitol Hill are just the beginning. We will continue to make our voices heard. Today, the National Fuel Funds Network is launching an internet petition drive urging Congress to provide $5.1 billion in funding for LIHEAP. LIHEAP supporters can sign on to the petition at the NFFN website or on NFFN's Facebook page, and our goal is to garner at least 100,000 signatures in this effort. So once again, we say to Congress, please fund LIHEAP at $5.1 billion for FY 2013. Don't turn a cold shoulder to those in need. Help us make sure that millions of Americans can keep their lights on and their homes livable. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Congressman Ed Markey, who has been a fighter on fuel assistance issues for over 35 years in the House of Representatives.
Every word that he just uttered about me, you can put ditto marks around and have that description apply equally well to John Larson, to Rosa DeLauro, and to Peter Welch, because they dedicate their energy, their leadership to ensure that this issue stays on the front burner here in Washington. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "You cannot do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late." And when you're talking about home heating oil support, there is the very real possibility that if federal assistance is delayed, it could be far too late. The Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program is more than just a line in the budget. It is a lifeline during these tough economic times. But demand for LIHEAP funding continues to far outstrip the funding available. Although 8.9 million households will receive LIHEAP funds this winter, over 30 million are eligible for assistance. No household should have to suffer chills in order to pay their bills this winter. While temperatures drop, heating bills are piling up for many families across the country. When they turn to LIHEAP for assistance, they are finding funds that will make this winter very difficult to brave, not available. New England winters are often severe, but with budget cuts threatening programs that serve the neediest, including LIHEAP, this could be an historically harsh winter. The average national household grant for home energy assistance has been cut from $417 in 2011 to $308 this year, a cut of more than 26%. Behind every statistic, there is a story. Behind each of these numbers is a name. Behind each of these figures is a face and a future that is at risk. On February 3rd, there was a front page article in the newspaper describing a man, Robert Hartford, who tried to hand over the title to his 16-year-old car in exchange for heating oil to prevent him and his disabled wife from freezing. His only means of travel. Times are that desperate for many, many people. Regrettably, despite escalating home heating oil prices, LIHEAP's authorized funding level has remained stagnant since 2005. That is why yesterday I introduced a bill with my colleagues here today to reauthorize LIHEAP. H.R. 4026, the Energy Assistance for American Families Act, would authorize LIHEAP for the next 4 years at $7.6 billion per year. As Americans, we have a responsibility to ensure that no one is left behind, no one is abandoned, no one is without hope. And that is what LIHEAP does. It ensures that no Americans are left to shiver during winter's dark and cold nights. While we stand outside to advocate for more heating oil to help our elderly and our most vulnerable survive the long winter, inside the Republicans are defending tax giveaways to big oil and gas. It takes a frigid heart to defend tax breaks for the most profitable oil companies in the world, while millions of American families worry about putting food on the table and having to choose between heating and eating. Our priority as Democrats is to protect programs for the poor, the elderly, the sick, and the children of our country. The Republicans are prioritizing the protection of tax breaks for the very rich. Will the Republicans just support the companies who drill for oil, or will they also support the families who need heating oil? Today, we turn up the heat on the majority in the House to fully fund this vital program and to continue to help American families during these challenging times.
Thank you very much, Ed, and thank you for outlining the issue for everyone here. Thanks for all the participants who have joined us today, with a special nod to veterans who this nation owes a special debt of gratitude to. You heard Ed review the statistics, but as Rosa and I know, in our home state of Connecticut, there's more than 100,000 people right now that currently are LIHEAP recipients who are suffering and who are hurting. And behind every statistic, as Ed said, there is a story. It's a human story. It's that story that demonstrates the person who is always caught between the choice providing heat or providing food or being able to take the prescriptions that their doctors recommend. I just left a group of people from hospitals from my district. They're already seeing this problem. They're seeing it by way of people who made the difficult choice, who aren't taking their prescription drugs, and who are ending up in our hospitals, further exacerbating the cost that society takes on when it doesn't take care of its neediest and its own. This is a moral issue before the country, and a moral issue in the face of great wealth and great opportunity. Imagine you are a 75-year-old lady in Southington. You are alone, and you used to receive $495, and now you're receiving $100. How do you pay that heating bill? As one of my constituents described it, it's the dark abyss of uncertainty that we feel we've been plunged into. The dark abyss of uncertainty. We need to shed some light on it. And along with light, an awful lot of heat to keep them warm. We need to get behind Ed Markey's proposal to make sure that we have the kind of funding levels that will make sure that every single American citizen in need gets the heating that they require to stay warm throughout this winter.